If you're a football fan, this is the place to be today. Millwall. Come on, you're in with us.
Hello Millwall fans, Adam Harvey here from the Pink 'Un, giving you a little bit of insight on Norwich City and what you can expect from us ahead of your trip to Carrow Road on Friday evening. Thanks Mickey for inviting me on to give this insight. I'll get started. What do we expect as Norwich City fans this season? Yeah, difficult one. I think there's a bit of a mixed kind of opinion amongst our fan base at the moment. There's sort of a segment of fans that feel like we'll be in the top six. The squad depth we've got is very strong. We've got a lot of Premier League players on the books, arguably lower half Premier League players, but still players that could easily be playing in the top flight. The likes of Teemu Pukki, who scored 12 goals last year in the Premier League, and a man who knows where the back of the net is in the Championship. Milot Rashica, brought in from Werder Bremen, got a lot of appearances in the Bundesliga for them. So a lot of Premier League quality still in this squad. Max Aarons as well, obviously always being linked with sort of the big clubs as well. A young man who nearly has 200 Norwich City appearances under his belt already, and he's only 22. So very impressive stats. But yeah, I think for me personally, I do think we'll be in the top six. I don't think it will be anything like it has been in the past two times we've been in this division, where we've walked the league and brought 2 championship titles to this city. I don't see that this time round. I think we've probably lost a little bit of quality that we had before. Obviously, Emi Buendia was so pivotal in that promotion season, well, both promotion seasons, but particularly that last time we were in this division. Ollie Skip as well, we had on loan from Tottenham, who, if it wasn't for injuries, I feel like he would have featured a lot more for Spurs last season. So to lose that kind of quality and maybe not replace it, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, but we've done some very good business. Isaac Hayden's come on loan from Newcastle, a man who's got a lot of Premier League experience, and then sort of some exciting signings from overseas. Marcelino Nunes from Chile and Gabriel Sara from Brazil, probably the notable ones there, that hopefully going to shake up that midfield and give us a little bit more of a dynamic look, a little bit of athleticism in the midfield, and fingers crossed we can be in the top six. But yeah, I feel like maybe a 4th or 5th place finish and a playoff season campaign would probably go down quite well amongst the fans here. But you know, there is pressure on the manager to deliver that, and that kind of links into the second question. What sort of perception of Dean Smith, and have we got the right manager? Yeah, a mixed opinion on that man. Brought in last November after Daniel Farke was sacked, only 9 games into the Premier League season. Actually won at Brentford and then got sacked, but the connection that he had with the fans, the city, the club was so strong. There's murals of him across the city. He brought 2 championship titles, sort of brought us back to the Premier League where no one really expected us to do that on a limited budget, to then go to Dean Smith, who really struggled towards the end of his tenure at Aston Villa, only about a week gap before he was appointed the Norwich City manager. Obviously the expectations were high that he could still try and keep us in the Premier League, but ultimately he had Daniel Farke's squad, no money to invest in January, and yeah, hypothetically he's brought us back down to the Championship, but with that has brought pressure. Norwich have still got a lot of Premier League players. We haven't really sold any notable names so far this season. We've done some fairly good business, spent a bit of money, so there is expectation this season. I feel like if Norwich aren't in that top 6 mix come the World Cup break, then Norwich might be looking to move him on and bring in someone new. But last night's win against Huddersfield was so big. You know, it felt like that hangover that we've got from the Premier League season and that losing culture. Maybe that's the moment that it's going to click and everything's going to change, and we really need a win against you guys on Friday night just to keep the positive momentum. And I feel like if that can continue, then Dean Smith will only, you know, get a better connection with the fans, and then maybe things can turn for the better. How's your transfer business? Yeah, we've brought in 4 players, all midfielders. Isaac Hayden on loan from Newcastle, which I'm sure most Millwall fans would have heard of. Obviously done very well at Newcastle, but he's kind of part of that. That's what old guard at Newcastle. They're trying to obviously set up their new project. So he's come in on loan. Unfortunately, he's been injured ever since pre-season, so we're yet to see him. It's probably going to be the back end of August, early September before he actually makes an appearance. So not one you're going to see on Friday night. Ahead of this one, obviously, in terms of the other players we brought in, Marcelino Nunes from Chile, only a 22-year-old. Very exciting, looked really, well, he's been arguably our best player in his early games. Scored a really good free kick away at Hull on Saturday, and he really looks like a talent. So a lot of excitement around him. Gabriel Sara, a £6 million fee from Sao Paulo, very exciting young midfielder as well, quite dynamic, quite athletic. Not really seen a lot of him, made an appearance in the Cup and a few substitute appearances, but one who is gradually coming back from an injury, so building up his fitness ahead of trying to get himself into the starting 11, and I think there's a lot of excitement around that man. And then finally, Aaron Ramsey, not that one, the Welsh one, but a young man on loan from Aston Villa, the brother of Jacob Ramsey, so maybe less expectation on his shoulders, but hopefully Norwich can sort of benefit, because he'd had a very good loan spell at Cheltenham last year. In terms of the outs, I'm kind of trying to shift on the deadwood, got rid of quite a few players, sort of younger talents as well, shifted them out on loan, but none of the real sort of big eye-catching names are yet to be sold. Max Aarons is still on the books, Milo Rashica still on the books, Tim Krul still on the books, and Timu Pukki as well, probably the ones that you maybe expect there to be a bit of interest, but all are currently still at Norwich. Obviously we've still got quite a few days of the transfer window to go, so that could change, but a lot of still Premier League quality amongst this squad, so I'd say the transfer business has been quite good. Probably expecting a left back to still arrive and maybe another winger, but yeah, positive window so far for Norwich. Key player, I think everyone's going to say Timu Pukki, potentially injured for this one, did miss last night's game with a foot injury, but Dean Smith quite confident that he'll be back for this Friday's game, and he loves a goal against Millwall. I remember a couple in that game against you guys at Carrow Road a few years back in that famous 4-3 win for us, where we got 2 stoppage time goals. He scored 1 at the Den that season and a 3-0 win as well. So a man who likes a goal against Millwall, a man who likes goals in the Championship, and yet to score this season. Did clatter the crossbar against Wigan at Carrow Road a couple of weeks back. So feels like he maybe needs the goal to kickstart his season. So hopefully for our sake that can come against you guys on Friday night. Who do we need to watch out for and why? I think Marcelino Nunes is probably the man that you need to watch out for. He's been very clever, he looks very creative, and arguably probably the most excitement around a transfer since Emi Buendia. Looks like he can kind of find that pass which Pukki kind of wants in terms of the service. So a lot of excitement around that man. Still quite young, 22, going to take time to adapt to the league, but the signs are very positive early on. So quite excited to see what he can do, and definitely one to watch out for ahead of this one in terms of facing you guys. Formation and style of play, this is a bit of a difficult one to answer actually. Daniel Farke, we always knew exactly it was always going to be a 4-2-3-1, very attacking, progressive football. Under Dean Smith, he hasn't really seen an identity yet. He very much likes a 4-3-3, and that's kind of been what he's gone with. We're struggling with left back injuries at the moment, so we had Kenny McLean, who's a central midfielder, filling at left back on last night against Huddersfield, so I could probably see that. So I'd say it'd be a 4-3-3 formation. I could probably tell you roughly what the lineup's going to look like, but in terms of play, we like possession. We're going to try and dominate the ball. We've got a lot of attacking flair on the flanks, and we actually utilised Josh Sargent last night in terms of trying to whip crosses in to find him in terms of headers, but obviously against you guys who are quite strong and have a lot of tall defenders, that might prove a little bit difficult. But yeah, fancy our chances in terms of trying to exploit you that way. So yeah, not really 100%. I can't really give you a definitive answer in terms of the playing style, but expect us to dominate the ball is what I'd say. What are our fans like, and what do they expect of the players? I think we've got sort of a bit of a mixed fan base. A lot of older fans that are maybe been there and seen it all in terms of, their sort of Norwich City supporting career. We've also got that sort of younger fan base that sit in it's called the Barclays stand, which is adjacent to the away fans, and that's where the noise is at. We have a lot of flags before kick-off. We have a corner as well called the Snake Pit, where it's very noisy as well, but probably not the same as the Den, where it's quite intimidating. I feel like Carrow probably doesn't have that kind of feel about it, but when Norwich are doing well, when they're scoring goals, and when the football is really exciting, the fans get on board with that, and the atmosphere can be very loud. And I feel like when Norwich get that sort of atmosphere in the stadium, the players react, and we tend to see a lot of goals and a bit of excitement. So yeah, I feel like if Mill get an early goal, that probably is going to be their way to win this game. Well, having said that, I say that you guys have come from 2-0 behind in your last 2 games, so who knows? But the fans just expect the players to give 100%. I think there's been periods in probably the last year or so where maybe they feel like certain players haven't given that, and that's all we demand. We just want our players to play for the badge, and obviously not the name on the back of the shirt, and give their all. And I feel like that's probably going to be enough. And if it doesn't work out, then the fans can still applaud the players. I mean, there were still certain players that would have got applause last season, despite how dire the Premier League season was, just due to the fact that their performances were so strong. How do I think the game will go? And a score prediction. I think this will be a close game. I think Millwall will offer us a different test to what we've had so far, so far this season. I think obviously that's probably what you get with the Championship. There's a lot of different teams that play different playing styles, where the Premier League is very similar. It's, the big boys play their possession football, they dominate the ball. They've got the ability to exploit you from all areas. I feel like the Championship, you've got a lot of different teams. Obviously Millwall quite strong and physical, quite defensive, and I feel like that might play into Norwich's hands because we love the counter-attack. We've got a lot of fast players in terms of the wing and the midfield. So Pukki obviously as well likes to sit on the sort of the shoulder of the defence. He's got that little bit of turn of pace where he might enjoy getting in behind the likes of a Jake Cooper or a Murray Wallace. So yeah, do fancy our chances in this one. I feel like it could be back-to-back home wins for us. Would be 7 points after 15, if out of possible 15 in terms of the points return if we can get a win, and of draw ourselves level with you in the table. So yeah, big one for us. I'm going to go 2-1 Norwich. I can see the same kind of outcome as what we got against Huddersfield. Narrow victory. I'll go Teemu Pukki. I think he'll be back. I think he'll score. He loves a goal against Millwall, as I've already said. And I fancy Marcelino Nunes to get another goal. So yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks for inviting me on, Mickey. Any Millwall fans that are making the trip down to Carrow Road on Friday night, have a safe journey. Enjoy your trip, but obviously don't enjoy it too much because we need the 3 points.